Okay, now there's two more sessions from main stage today, and I can see that the room is quite crowded now. Can I see the hands? Anyone's a Titanium fan? Yeah, woo! Anyone PJ Monton's fan? Woo! Apart from being a great artist, they are also the tech-savvy people. Talking about crowdfunding, this word is quite familiar in tech industry, right? For example, Kickstarters, Indiegogos, and many companies that do crowdfunding. They put an idea on the website and people support by the money, and those ideas can come to be a real product, real innovation. But for Thai market, for Thailand, this thing is quite new, but there are people doing it. So now, we're gonna see why Thailand needs crowdfunding. So let me introduce to you the co-founder of Asiola. Please welcome John Laws, the CEO, Monton Jira, co-founder, and Khan Ngen Nua Nuan, co-founder of Asiola and CEO of Titanium Entertainment. Please welcome.
Check. Hello, Techsauce. We're super
Check.
We're super excited to be up here today. We have a lot to talk about, especially on the crowdfunding model and what crowdfunding actually means to us and what crowdfunding actually can do for the market here today. But first, a little about ourselves. I'm John Law, CEO and co-founder of the business, and this is...
I'm Monton Jira, co-founder as well.
And this is Khan. Techsauce say ho!
Ho!
Everybody say ho! We're gonna keep that for the after party. Just make sure you come to the after party because I'm DJing tonight. Yes, go back to you.
Let's get a little more serious here. You know, what we've been seeing around in the market today is that ideas are really flourishing. Thai creativity, entrepreneurship is at an all-time high. And it's not just tech, it's across industry, from F&B to arts to events to real estate and even to retail. You're probably all familiar with these numbers here. And if you've seen year-over-year growth, there's been extremely good amounts of positive momentum that we've seen over the past years, about 6 to 7 years. Out of 70 million population, we're seeing 150 mobile penetration, up from 107% in 2010. Out of the 35 million Facebook users, I think we have far too much time on our hands, spending 2.5 hours every day on Facebook. And of the 24 million active mobile users, 37% are actually using mobile apps every day. And that lends itself to the land of selfies. In 2014, we've seen 494 million photos be taken in Thailand. That's #1 in the world. In 2015, we've seen Siam Paragon be the #12 most Instagram location in the world. In 2013, it was #1. Now, obviously, that speaks about how we all love to take photos, but I think it speaks a lot volume about how we create content, how we distribute content on social networks, and how engaged the digital online audience is today. Entrepreneurship is also on the rise. Case in point, us, we have Asiola, Wonderfruit, and a hospitality group called Big Bad Wolf. Per the Bangkok Post, in 2014, there are 300 startups founded. By the end of 2015, 2,500 startups were founded. And halfway into 2016, 4,000 plus startups are already on its way. It's growing. But then why is fundraising so difficult to come by? Why is it that most businesses and startups out there still take the traditional route of things? You know, per Techsauce report, we have seen tremendous growth over the past 4 years. Look at 2012 to 2016, we've seen 29x growth in the amount of funds dedicated to startups. The amount of VCs have come in and funded other startups. Angel investment is at an all-time high. Even people are exiting now, which is great. But what about everyone else? What about the people and the companies that are not here? This goes out to the artists or the struggling musicians or the community-driven projects or the events that we have locally, or even the startups that are not part of Techsauce. What happens to them? Pulitzer Prize winner Edith Wharton said, there are two ways of spreading light: to be the candle or the mirror that reflects it. And we want to be the mirror that reflects it. You know, the reason why we started Asiola was to really level the playing field. With the digital scene the way it's going, with entrepreneurs rising to numbers that we haven't seen before, there's so much opportunity, and we want to be able to help provide that opportunity and believe crowdfunding is a model to do that. You know, the number one question that we get asked is, then why not Kickstarter? And if we had 100 bought for everyone that asked us this question, we probably wouldn't need to raise our next round. But Kickstarter is great. It's a global audience, global appeal, it's a global platform. You've seen the successes of it, 300,000 plus launch projects since inception. There's, right now at this very point, about 4,500 projects live. They have a modest campaign success rate of 35%. They've raised over $2 billion. It's great, we have nothing bad to say about them, but it's for a global audience. In fact, one of our advisors is the guys who created Kickstarter. But is it really for us here? And that's why we look at the localized model. There's something that we find very relevant in doing and helping opportunity here, not elsewhere, not outside, here. There's something about being targeted, and you know, and this carries through from anything from events to art-driven activities to community-driven activities, and even to entrepreneurs. At Kickstarter, you may get lost in the 300,000 projects. Here, you have a voice, and a voice that actually help and do something good. You know, when we look at what's happening on the global platform side of things, the feeling of contribution goes way beyond the screen. Almost when we look at Kickstarter, it almost feels like a pre-sale e-commerce system to us these days. And we want more than that. You know, fortunately for us, in our 6 months of starting the business, we've had about 60 to 70% of our campaigns be successful. And we were able to see the opportunity of the personal connection that goes way beyond the transaction. Case in point, Luke Satoro from the Creative District, who would hand-deliver all the rewards to every single backer. Or Alex Face painting a giant mural in the city central. And this is something that we get to see every day going to work. Now, when you look at something like the Pebble Watch, do you feel that if you didn't contribute to that campaign, that it wouldn't exist? Probably not. But the ideas that help us here, the ideas that go into the contributions on the platform using crowdfunding, actually are relevant. These ideas won't happen without your contribution. And there's something relevant about having that personal connection go a little way. You know, when we talk about the process, when you build product and you're developing product, usually it's at the tail end of the cycle that customers get to experience it. But what we love about crowdfunding and why we feel that it's so great for this market is that you start from ground zero. You start from the time that they're saying, yes, I want to try out this idea. I'm not sure if it's going to work. I'm not sure if it's going to be popular or not, but I want to be a part of that process. And being a part of that process is actually something special. Now, talking about part of the process, Khan?
Yes?
What do you think about Titanium?
Well, I have a rap group called Titanium, and yeah, we did the rap boot camp campaign. Basically, we've been in the game for 16 years. And we get asked a lot, like, of a question of like, how do you write raps? How do you inspire yourself to tell your stories? Or what program do you use to record? How do you, you know, such and such. So with all those questions, I always have in mind that I want to do, what's it called? Like a class, basically. So Rap Bootcamp came in mind when Asiola came together and crowdfunding. So basically we did it, and it was successful. How many percentage?
104%.
Okay, 104%. So we did that, and I saw dedication of the kids coming to the class and all this stuff. And actually, one of the kids got hit by a car that morning, and he went to the hospital. Came back to class, and I was like, how come you didn't stay in the hospital? And he was like, you guys don't do this every day. This is really rare that you guys are teaching us how to rap and all this stuff. So I wouldn't miss it for nothing. So I was like, wow, okay, so this is really means something to kids. So this is what John meant by localizing the idea, right?
Yeah, and I think there's really was something amazing to see how inspirational what the Taipei guys did to the kids. You know, it's very few and often that you get to meet your childhood heroes. It's very few and often that you actually get the opportunity to do something with them. And, you know, we felt that, especially on the direct to fan model, that it made a lot of sense with what Titanium's doing.
Next one. This one is called Shorts, right? Yeah. Okay, basically these guys, they had their campaigns on Kickstarter and raised $100,000 for their Beast shorts. So now they're thinking to localize their idea by, they want to redesign Thai's school uniforms. So if you don't know, in Thailand, you have to wear uniforms. So basically you are, all the boys are wearing white shirts and black shorts and, you know, white socks and black shoes. So I had to go through that myself, so I didn't really like the idea too much either, because the shorts was really small and uncomfortable. You can't really play balls and, or anything with it. So
we used to skate back in the day too.
Yeah.
And in the uniform?
These shorts were horrible.
Yeah, I agree with you. But anyways, these guys came up with the idea to redesign them and make them like, how stretch?
Yeah,
like
they're
more.
stretchable 9 ways. There's different material. You can run around with them. You can play basketball with them. You can go skateboarding with them.
Yeah. So it's really great idea, and I feel like this could be really big, because I mean, if I was in school, I would want one, because the shorts that they're selling are really, really bad.
And I think this is one of the overarching themes that we see, is that a campaign like this wouldn't make sense on a global platform. A campaign like this makes a lot of sense for people locally, and it solves a lot of local problems that hopefully we can solve with the tight high school uniform shorts.
Yes, sir.
Techno pizza party.
So this is a campaign that I ran. It's been an idea that's been brewing probably for about 15 years, and it was kind of a silly idea. I don't think we had any expectation to run this and see, you know, the traction that we did. But it was sort of a test, proof of concept, to see how ridiculous an idea can be to gain traction amongst the users that were fans of previous works of mine. So we had launched the campaign for Techno Pizza Party with a very, very low goal. We capped it at 10 people, 300 baht each, and not knowing what to expect, we didn't want the campaign to fail. We ended the campaign at 1,033%, with 83 people coming to the event, which happens August 20th. But the main thing that we saw was that with a campaign like this that ended quite early, how were we able to interact with the people that were either fans or had already contributed, and how were we able to stretch it out? So what we did was we added cheese to the pizza. We added, you know, specific lights. We upgraded the sound system. We changed the venue to entice people to come back, spread the word to their friends, and see the campaign grow even after it was funded. Again, being able to attend such an event, it being local, makes sense. For me to go and do this on another platform or within a different circle in terms of crowdfunding doesn't. But
you could test how many of your fans actually really wanted to do something like this.
Yeah, and this
right?
helps a lot, because, you know, when we had started this, a lot of this talk that we had with our friends that were also artists, it was key in them being able to test out product, test out ideas, and in whatever creative space that they had, to see, if there was actually really support out there. But so in terms of testing on an event like this, it was something a little different. We kind of had fun, in terms of the artwork and whatnot. So it kind of proved itself in a specific way, which opened up the idea for me to bring in another type of event, which is another
Good
another
segue.
thing that we have on the startup floor, which is it's a local festival we call Wonderfruit.
Has anyone heard about Wonderfruit before?
Yes? No? Yes? Yes? Yeah, fantastic. So
Tickets
Wonderfruit,
available.
for this year, we're going to implement some specific crowdfunding aspects just because it's such a complex content-based festival where, because of so many aspects of it, we don't really understand yet what the audience is looking for. And because there's so many aspects, everybody seems to enjoy or expect different
It's
things.
almost like a guessing game of what works and what doesn't at a festival. We always look across many different areas and say, okay, what are people going to actually enjoy, right?
And it's never really the same. So in a way, we've fallen back onto curating something not based on what the audience wants or what we expect them to want. But this year, we're going to try to include some new initiatives where crowdfunding will allow festival attendees to pick and choose things that they may want to see, things that they may want to be a part of. So for this year, we have 3 different initiatives that we think may be quite interesting. One, something involving the Green Initiative, where we have a hackathon. It's a green hackathon that runs over the course of the festival where people can compete and build specific things according to our guidelines based on our ethos. Aside from that, we also have fashion-based crowdfunding with Trash Hero, and another specific one that comes to mind because people seem to complain about the size of our venue. Getting around, we're going to crowdfund an art car shuttle, allows people to get transported, around the festival site. So again, from Techno Pizza Party, being able to open up event crowdfunding, hopefully we'll get to make use of all the concepts that we have in a bigger event like a full-fledged festival.
Great. I'm going to stand up because it's easier. We talk about crowdfunding and bringing it to Thailand. We really do feel that the model itself works really nicely on multiple levels, not just creativity, not just community, but also obviously from a financial level as well. We'd be lying to you if we said everything was smooth sailing. There's always challenges, especially when you bring a new model to market. And one of the big things is education. When we talk about changing behavior, and we talk about teaching what crowdfunding is, it's really important to get positioning right, messaging, and being able to localize what you're talking about in an easy to understand way. When we questioned our user base, about 40% of our users had no idea what crowdfunding was. The other 43% had an idea what crowdfunding was, but had no idea what the model or mechanics were. So obviously the minority have a full understanding of what the model is. And for us, and I think very early on in these days, was much spent on making sure that people understand what the model is and how it can help and how it can drive your potential business or your ideas and give you opportunity that maybe you wouldn't even think you had the opportunity. And speaking about opportunity, that's why we really love this model, because it takes the traditional fundraising aspect and turns it on its head. Maybe it's not about chasing the latest unicorn. Maybe it's not about following what every single VC says or following the latest trends. Maybe it's about doing what you love to do. And what we love about this, I keep on saying what we love about this model, but what we love about this model is that people are the ones that dictate an idea versus whether it should go to market or whether it shouldn't. Test out an idea. We've seen so many ideas out there from every single market, and this is the opportunity to say, hey, I want to do something, and here's the opportunity to do it. And for us at Asiola, this is exactly the reason why we started this platform, is to give that type of opportunity. Hey, Hubba guys. We know, though, that fundraising does not happen at one level. In fact, fundraising, if you're whether you're on the company life cycle and looking for seed investment, whether you're a large enterprise looking for things, it happens at multiple levels. You could be the guy off the street that has a great idea. You could be the entrepreneur that's been operating for 1 to 2 businesses and ready to go for your Series A. You could be the large enterprise that says, I have a portfolio of products, and I'm sick of spending so much money and time on R&D, and I want to test this to see if actually the market responds to it. That's what we love. And when we look at how a customer lifecycle is for fundraising, it's about supporting where support is needed. You know, I think most people are familiar with reward-based crowdfunding. For us, it doesn't end there. There's tons of models built within crowdfunding that we are looking at, and we're really excited to launch our equity-based model really, really soon. But what about the community-driven projects, right? What about the large enterprise that we can support? And I think the way we look at things is that this model can scale out to many different types of businesses, no matter who you are or where you're at within the life cycle. That's why we like to connect the dots. And you know, looking at our local model, it's exactly what we do. And for us, credibility and building trust was a really important thing starting out. That's why we partnered with the best in the business, from the Capricorns to the Googles to the Rabbits to the Hubbas. We want to establish a really good customer base, not just for us, but also to help our campaign creators get the access they need and build collaborations that really, really drive growth. For example,
well, one of the big collaborators we have coming up in terms of campaigns is one through a set of 4 different entities. Ananda Development, Maru 360, Habitat for Humanity, and prize-winning architect Dungrit Bunnak. So early on, when we launched last year, we had a campaign called The Good House. And Kun Dungrit had created specific homes that were sort of like IKEA houses after the tsunami hit 2009. So we decided that we wanted to fund the production of these houses in preparation for any other sort of natural disaster that may happen. But because each house seemed like it was quite expensive and the rewards that were based on the house didn't really make sense for individual backers, we had put that campaign on hold. Enter Ananda, Maru 360, and Habitat for Humanity, and now the whole plan makes a lot more sense where a corporation can come in and help develop the project further, lowering the cost of the production for each house and finding an actual use for it, where Habitat for Humanity wants to open up a small community of 45 houses in Kanchanaburi with sustainable farming, a school, and a community center. So now the funding behind it has much more of a purpose. And so we believe that this collaboration will be something to look forward to and much more interesting on the side of the backers.
Yeah, we talk about purpose a lot, especially whenever we develop any type of campaign. It's no different than our BTS campaign with obviously the BTS group, Come In, Ler Chai Prasert, which is a well-known artist in Chiang Mai, and our very own Pranitan Porn Papa. Basically, this campaign is launching next month, and one of the big things that we wanted to do was push the art scene here. So you'll see Bangkok's first moving art installation where Come In, Ler Chai Prasert will basically rewrap the BTS train inside and out with really interesting videos, and the whole thought process about that is based on mindfulness and being in the moment and taking away from your busy life and thinking about yourself and thinking about doing good. And these are the types of movements that we want to support, and being a part of it is something that's really, really important to us. Enter YPO.
Last but not least, YPO. If you don't know, up north of Thailand, we have this big problem about haze, because all the farmers, they actually go into the forest and burn the forest to create more space for them to farm, and that's been going on for years and years and years and years, and no one haven't done anything about it really, right? So now YPO and Mae Phat Luang foundation came together to create this workshop, right, for to educate the new generations of farmers. And yeah, that's a really good thing to do, in my opinion. And we can do this because crowdfunding exists here in Thailand, and it's really localized, catered to problems that we see.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about local, it's especially localized to being up north. The people there are directly affected by that, and the problems that we see now are extremely relevant to that area. People in the US or UK may hear about it, but it's just another story. People here, and what it means to us here is a very different thing. And this is where I think the last three are so community driven that we see crowdfunding as a model to really help that. Funding aside and everything like that, it really gives some sort of purpose to what we do. And in return, actually helps things, not just like a charity, but actually measurable things that things can actually get done. Oh, oops. So, sorry. For us, and just closing up, crowdfunding as a model is still very new. There's been a few platforms beside us, but it really hasn't taken on stride, at least on the way we think it should. It's very much blue ocean, and we're really excited about the types of opportunities that it can bring. And when we look across what's happening on the digital space, we look across what's happening creativity-wise. I mean, look at the conference here with all the startups and businesses that are happening. Now's the time to feed inspiration. Now's the time to be able to support startups like you guys, to be able to go places and get things done. And in the end, beautiful ideas will take shape. We've seen this with Asiola. We've seen this from crowdfunding platforms across the world, and we hope to deliver that to you guys, hopefully in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you very much.